Cool. Good morning, sweethearts. Andrea.
Hey.
Hey,
Did you just say good
Sanderlichi.
morning? Is it
Yeah,
morning where you are?
here's always good morning, sweetheart. It's just how the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, but is it morning or is it evening?
Evening. It's
Ah,
evening.
good. Oh, I get you now. Right.
But it's what is it with you there? Evening or morning?
Yeah, it's evening. Yeah, it's
Evening.
just nearly 20 past 7 in the evening.
And looks like we made it.
Yeah,
Look how far we've
finally.
come. So it was like 1 year ago that we
Oh, was
first.
it?
I don't
No,
know.
don't say
Couple of,
that.
let's say
Really.
almost 1 year ago, but you see, it's now even cooler.
Yeah.
You have more stories to share, I bet.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would say let's go. Let's go, girl.
Oh, where do we begin?
Zanderlintje, you start with a question, with the first question, please.
Oh, I have no questions. Sorry. Um,
I have no answers. Sorry.
All right.
well,
This is going to be funny. Okay, no, Andrea, sweetheart. So Xander suggested
Yeah.
he saw he saw you on Facebook or I don't know what, and he suggested to do a chat with you, and
Yeah.
I happily agreed, of course.
Yeah.
And I
really?
love
Yeah,
the.
really? When was, do you mean a year ago, right? Yeah, a year ago.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable because I didn't know you, and then I loved like I directly messaged you also, and you boom
Yeah.
back, and then
Yeah.
this in a way never happened. I was like
I know, right? I will
perfection in action,
confess. I
perfection in
will
action.
confess.
Ah.
This body has had a fear of videos.
Ah,
And it's not just like this kind of thing. It's even with my partner or my friends. If they video call me, I don't answer. I have this
oh my,
really weird thing about doing video chats. I
yeah,
don't know. And like I said, it's my friends as well. It's not just in these kind of situations.
yeah,
But also, I was saying to Sander, I've the Zoom, your Zoom that you did last week.
yeah.
That's the first one I have ever appeared at, ever,
Wow,
ever.
wow, amazing, amazing. Cool. I'm very happy to have you here. I love, by the way, your pullover. What is it?
Oh, thank you. It's Picasso.
Yeah, I love it. Beautiful,
Yeah, love a
beautiful.
bit of art.
And yeah, I'm simply, Andrea, I'm simply curious how you in a way came to so-called non-duality. And maybe your story, you really can tell it the way you want. A beautiful fairy tale.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
feel free. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first off, I'm just going to say that the dogs are in here with me. So if you hear groaning or moaning,
Okay,
it's not
cool.
me, it's the dogs. How did I come to non-dual? That's probably one of the questions, maybe one of the reasons why I kind of avoided somewhat, because I can't really pinpoint anything like that. What I can say, and so with my story, it really kind of begins. That's not really true. My life was very strange from such a very young age. Really strange. Like a lot of what you might call paranormal activity and odd stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, really odd stuff. Like there's some really significant things that were really odd, and those things was never just me and that thing. There was often other people around.
Can you
So
maybe give an example, sweetheart? Is it possible?
yeah, so I always knew things that other people didn't know or I had no means of knowing. And I remember conversations that things I used to just come out with things, and my dad would be quite shocked at what I'd say and would question how I knew these things. And it would happen at school as well. I remember being taught in religious education, and I'd only just started school, and I wasn't introduced to religion. I didn't know anything about, Jesus or Adam and Eve. I wasn't taught that, but somehow I knew that what I was being taught wasn't true. And I remember one occasion, I'm probably about 5, and I stand up in class. Now, I'm the quiet girl at the back that doesn't really say anything to anybody, doesn't have very many friends, sort of, quite.
Introvert.
Yeah, yeah. And I just remember this anger that comes up inside me, and I stand up. This isn't true. This is lies. And then my parents got called into school, and um, yeah, it was like a really big thing. There were other things, such as I saw a mothership, like a massive. I was about 8 or 9. Reggie, out the way. I was about 8 or 9. Actually, no, maybe not that old, a bit younger. And there was like this it sounds ridiculous, right? There was this huge island coming over the roof of where we lived. And I ran to my mum and dad's bedroom going, there's a spaceship outside. And my dad tells me to go back to sleep. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning coming over
Sweetie, I'm
Wimbledon.
not amused. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. Go to bed.
Exactly, right? And I watched this bloody great big thing, like literally just go over there's so
Wow.
many weird things. There's so many crazy stories and spooky stories and spirits that I used to talk to and all sorts of weird stuff. So there was always a wonder, because I thought this was normal. I thought this was completely normal. I thought everybody did it. I got into Ouija boards at a really young age, probably around 11 or 12.
Sorry, sweetheart. What boards?
Ouija board. Where you have the letters out and then you have a glass and you put your fingers on the glass and then the spirit is supposed to move the glass.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. All that
I'm
weird
not
stuff.
not that into this, but I know now.
No,
I know now.
it's
Okay,
fine.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
no,
Yeah,
I'm not into
yeah,
this either. It's just what apparently happened when I was a kid.
And sweetheart, here I'm curious. Where was it? England or where?
Yeah, England. Yeah, England. Yeah.
Okay.
And this is just with friends. And so I thought all this was kind of like normal. And then I realized that no, I was quite different in like people would be really interested. They used to call me a witch when I was at school because I knew things that I shouldn't have known, even
Yeah.
down to whether the teacher was going to be in a bad mood before she came in or he came into the room.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then I was introduced to hallucinogenics when I was quite young as well. Acid, mushrooms, that kind of stuff. I was 13. So when I realized
Yeah, wait a
that
sec, sweetheart. I've noticed when I was kind of researching a little bit in the spiritual stuff, things popped up simply. And I
yeah,
noticed that a lot of English people
yeah,
are into, it's quite popular in England with it's a quite serious thing there. It's very normal that you have like those skills, and they
right,
in a way kind of train you even further to go further.
yeah,
It's very
yeah,
ordinary, so to say, because
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah,
put it like this, it's quite ordinary just to
yeah,
improve the skills you already have. It's
yeah,
not something like crazy or witchy or stuff like
yeah,
this. Just
yeah,
to
yeah,
mention this, I simply
yeah.
noticed it's okay.
Ah, that's really cool. That is
Yeah.
really cool because that's exactly what happened. So I began my my experimenting with psychedelics when I was about 13, and that is where the I can't call it the understanding of non-duality, but that's where it was seen. I couldn't put any words to it. I couldn't call it anything. I hadn't, even down to calling it oneness. I couldn't call it that because I didn't have that in my vocabulary.
Yeah.
But that's where, if you want, the spiritual seeking began, because it was like, I didn't know what it was. Now, when I was 14, I had experience with the witches.
Mm.
So I lived in this place called Ely in Cambridgeshire, and I had a very, very spooky, weird experience, which sent me to, well, okay, so it's a summer evening, it's school holidays, and I'm about 14. And down by the river in Ely, there used to be a long-haired hippie man who lived on a bus, and I was convinced he was a paedophile, absolutely convinced. Anyway, this particular night, everything went really weird. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm there by myself. This wind comes from nowhere. It's all crazy, crazy stuff going on. I go to run, don't know where I'm going to go because I can't go home at 2 o'clock in the morning. My mum and dad's going to kill me. I run, and as I'm coming under this bridge, there's his bus with a candle flickering in the back of the bus. And I needed help in that moment. Whatever this was going on, I needed help. So pedophile or no pedophile, I was going to bang on this bus, and there
Wait a
I
sec,
am.
sweetheart. Why were you at 2 a.m. in the morning outside? What was the reason?
Because I was supposed to be going to a party.
Yeah.
The party didn't go off.
Okay.
There was a bunch of us kids. We were in the next town. And then, so what we decided to do was there was 2 motorbikes, probably about 10 of us. And what we were going to do is we was going to bring one by one back to Ely, to where we lived, and go to my friend's boat and hang out on the boat for the night. But that didn't happen in the way that it should.
Okay.
So I go running, like this whole, like the weather just changed. It was the most spookiest experience ever. I go banging on this bus. Like I said, I thought this guy was a paedophile, but that was the safer option than whatever was happening in that moment. And he drags me on this bus, goes, "Oh my God, it's here." I'm like, "Oh my God, what the hell is going on?" He gets out this big old book. He's chanting, he's putting salt down. Like, I'm just sat there, 14-year-old kid going, "Oh my God, like what is going on?" The wind is going crazy outside. There's a willow tree like banging on the bus. He's like saying all this stuff. I'm like, holy moly. Anyway, he's like, "Right, I want you to feel love." I'm like, "Well, how do I feel love? Like, what is this?" And he's like, "This is the witches." I'm like, "What do you mean this is the witches?" He went, "Look, a long time ago, witches were drowned here. This was a place where Matthew Hopkins came, the witch hunter, and you know, the witches have come back. They've come back for you." I'm like, oh my God. The only thing I loved at the time was my cat. All right. So there I am, just in my mind, just like pretending I'm with my cat. I love my cat. Whatever that's happening, just go away. I love my cat. I love my cat. He's saying all this chanty stuff, whatever. And out of nowhere, it just calms down and the wind stops and it all goes away. Anyway, this apparent paedophile was most definitely not a paedophile. He became like a spiritual teacher for me at a very, very young age. So he taught me astrology, he taught me tarot, and he also taught me about why I was experiencing the things that I was experiencing. So in that sense, like you were just saying a moment ago, it's very, you know, it's normal and it's kind of, it was fed. Whatever was going on within me was being fed by this man, like, and he was completely trustworthy. He treated me like a daughter. Like, there was nothing untoward about him. There was no problems whatsoever. And so yeah, he fed that. He really, I mean, I was taught astrology the old way, so nowadays you've got like all the computer programs does it for you. Oh no, I was taught by the book to work it all out, like mathematically and all sorts of stuff. The I Ching as well, like he taught me the I Ching, how to use the I Ching. So yeah, 14 years of age, I became very wise, if you will, in the words of
It's the right word in a way. This is in a way, wisdom a little
yeah,
bit. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And then
Wow.
And then, yeah, so he then introduced me to, so I'd been dabbling with um, acid tabs. And then he introduced me to shrooms. And so my psychedelic journey just, continued from there. And I was so curious at what the only thing I could call it was melting. Like, I just knew that there was nothing, that everything was just this cosmic soup, that there was no matter, that there was no substance to this all. And that the filter that we viewed everything through was like putting on a pair of sunglasses or putting on a pair of 3D glasses. So then you got to see everything in this certain way, this fun and exciting way. But actually, the way I thought it was that when you took psychedelics, it took away that filter and you actually got to see how everything really is. So it was like this really is place. And I really enjoyed the going there, like, because it was pure relaxation. It was pure, like, nothing mattered, everything was cool, really groovy. Do you know what I mean? Everything's floaty and movie, and colors and sounds and echoes, and it's just this really cool place, which I could only sort of describe as being dead. like something in me said, well, that's what it's like being dead. So yeah, that just continued, and I got into. I've
But
had a
wait,
very.
wait a sec.
Yeah.
You led a normal life, also
No.
going to
No.
school, and no?
Yes and no. So I didn't have a great sort of family at all. I was
Okay.
kicked out of home when I was 15.
Ah, okay. So
Um
I wondered why you prefer in this night to go into the bus where you thought it's a pedophile. I would
yeah.
prefer to go home because,
Yeah, no,
of
I wouldn't have
course,
been
it's
able to
my
go
safe
home.
place. This was the
Yeah.
first question which arose here, but now it's
Yeah.
understandable. Okay. Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't have to go into this story, but
No.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. If you
Yeah.
simply share, sweetheart.
Yeah. 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 No, I don't mind. Um and then, yeah, so I then went from relationship to relationship, which were highly traumatic because they were incredibly violent.
Ah,
um there's a lot of abuse and a lot of yeah, a lot of nasty stuff that happened in my life, and that was the strange part, because there was such a contrast to what I knew ultimately what is, and yet being, I don't know, like, sucked into the story and the pain and the chaos and the trouble and all the crap that kind of went on with that.
it sounds
Um,
like a nightmare.
it was a nightmare. It
Mm-hmm.
really was a
Yeah,
nightmare until I
totally.
was until I was 40, and then I nearly died when I was 40, and I don't know.
Because of what? Because of
I had an
violence?
appendicitis.
Ah, shoot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it wasn't detected. So
Yeah.
I had a burst appendix for about 4 days, and the surgeon doesn't, he didn't know how I was still alive. At the point where they actually got me in, everything was like collapsing,
Mm.
deflating, collapsing. All my internal organs were packing up. Um, and that was like a big, I don't know. I can't. It sounds like, it sounds like the old cliche spiritual dark night kind of, dark night of the soul, I think it's called. Um, but yeah, that's kind of what happened, and everything started to fall away from my life. All of the drama, all of the trouble. Um, and then I started studying like personal development, obviously, because of all the chaos and all the trauma that I'd gone through. Um, and became a hypnotherapist.
Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting. Mm-hmm.
yeah. Needing to understand how the mind worked, because whatever was going on, it was always the weirdest thing. Like, I could never understand why I was going through what I was going through. Nothing ever made sense, but I couldn't stop it from happening. Like, it was like a compulsion. I was compelled to be in a violent relationship, and I couldn't stop being in the violent relationship until it stopped one day. And there's no reason that there was no working up to it. There was no plan. There was no nothing. It's just that day after 15 years, that was the longest one. There's 2 very violent relationships, and then one more emotional violent relationship, which is the one that kind of completed everything when I was 40. But yeah, there's to any of it, there's no working up to that point. I was so codependent, I was so wrapped into the story that I could never see an end of it. I mean, my marriage, the 15-year experience, I thought I was going to be leaving that house in a box. I never for 1 second believed that I was going to actually walk away from that relationship. But yeah, just one day, it was as if somebody flicked a switch, and all of a sudden I was free. So I can't help but feel that it's orchestrated. I can't. Like, people say, like, whatever happens, happens. Yes, but it gives that human narrator the feeling of orchestration, like, it feels like it's just doing its thing as it's doing it, and it's got nothing to do with you, nothing whatsoever.
Yeah.
So all these things were kind of like adding to. So even though I'm going through the absolute like hell of life, the meltdowns, the breakdowns, the trauma, the everything else, I'm still viewing it from this place of, there's something else going on. Like, why is this happening? Like, what is this? And of course that keeps fueling it and fueling it and feeding it.
Let me quickly interrupt you, sweetheart. I
Mm,
know what you mean. I know what you
yeah,
mean. When
yeah,
I totally know, it was like when I came in touch with the non-dual message,
yeah,
with the so-called teacher, I told him my story. And it was exactly like you, of course, another story.
yeah,
Exactly like you and then this, what the
yeah,
fuck? And then this, and I was like,
yeah,
what the fuck? And even this, and
yeah,
then this. Oh my gosh. As if
that's
someone
it.
is seeing the story running, but in a way
Yeah,
actually unfuckable.
yeah,
But nevertheless full on suffering, yeah. And
yeah,
this
full
part
on.
it was very easy out
Yeah,
of the shit, when you just hear, okay,
yeah,
it's what it is, it's automatic anyways,
yeah,
you in it.
yes, yeah,
Okay, okay,
yeah,
but it's not like I understood now. No, it's not understanding. It's just
yeah,
like done. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
done. That's
Sorry.
exactly it.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it now, like, it's like last night's dream. In fact, last night's dream was quite horrific. I had quite a
Tell,
scary dream last night.
tell me.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it was about, my last night's dream was about my ex-husband, who was obviously violent, and I was still married to him, and I've been trying to marry who I'm about to marry, Darren. And I couldn't, I had to hide it all, and I was like worried about Facebook, and I woke up like, oh my God, where did that come from? But in the same way, what happened in the past is just as meaningless as last night's dream. It's just like a dream. So
Yeah.
again, that's adding to the experiences that I was having when I was younger, when I was a kid, that there's something else to this. There's something more about this. There's something, it's not real. There's something, and I've always had to find out that not real part. Like, what is that not real?
Yeah. 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 Totally. I'm with you there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then a few years ago, a friend of mine sent over some 5-MeO DMT, and that finished it all off. That was it. I did about 6 months. Wasn't planned. It wasn't that after the first time I did it, I was convinced I was never going to do it again. But that was more through fear, I think. It was like, it was bringing up this clinging to the story kind of feeling, clinging to this life So obviously the 5-MeO DMT smashed that completely. And the final one I did, it was just so obvious that this is just, it's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. And then I'd been reading Ramana as well. And what's it called? The Bhagavad Gita and a few other bits and pieces. Oh, I loved the Bhagavad Gita. I thought it was
I
like
read a
music.
couple of sentences maybe
Yeah.
only, and I loved it
Yeah.
too, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Just I used to just play it on like an audio.
Ah,
It was just, I don't know, it was just like listening to music. Like I
yeah.
wasn't into what it was saying. I'm not studying it,
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
I wasn't,
Just
not like that.
curious, just a
Yeah.
story. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It was more like another acid trip. You know, it's like, oh, this is beautiful. This is just like my acid trip. This is lovely. You know, and then and a bit of Ramana, and that was really kind of like, oh, there it is. He's talking about my trip. He's talking about the supernatural experiences. He's talking, and then so I had this really kind of anti-religion thing as well going on, like throughout my life. Since I was a kid at school, I became very anti-religion. What I realized, I was anti-translation of all the scriptures. So then I started looking at the scriptures, all the different scriptures, whether it's Christian, whether it's whatever it might be. And I'm
yeah,
like, it's just translation. They are actually all talking the same thing, just using different ways of describing it. So I know a lot of people, I've heard a lot of people get quite, you know, like they kind of dismiss it. I don't dismiss anything, because everything is this, like you can't escape it. And I think my life, my story, if you want to call it that, you know, that has shown that it is the absolute contrast of well, it's not the absolute contrast, because it's already it, you know, the chaos, the drama, the intensity, the grittiness, the pain, the mutilation, the broken bones, the
yeah,
everything is
yeah.
already it.
Beautiful.
And the story really, like, people don't understand how I come to love those who abused me. And it's not that I love them, but I just see through it all. I see that just as like I didn't have a choice, they didn't have a choice.
Yeah,
And I feel for them. Like I feel for those who go through what I go through, but I also feel for the abusers now, because to not be able to stop, and I've seen the want to stop, I've seen the tears, and they're not crocodile
yeah,
tears, I've seen that pain, I've
yeah,
seen that suffering that they go through, because they are going through their own emotional
yeah,
trauma, and probably more fragile than I ever was.
yeah,
So I have great compassion,
yeah,
massive compassion. There's not
yeah,
anything that is excluded out of this. Like, you hear people talk about unconditional love, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but can you
yeah,
include some of the world's, I mean, I'm not going to go into specific details, but can you actually say that about some of the world's worst what's the word, atrocity, is that the right word? I don't know, you know what I mean, like the worst examples of, you know, murderers. Can you say that? Can you say that?
tragedies. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, can you say that too? Can you be
yeah,
inclusive? Because that's what this is. That's what
It's
we're
all
talking
innocence.
about.
yeah. Beautiful.
It is, yeah, all
So,
innocence,
There's
all
no
of it.
one doing any atrocities. No one. There's no one separated doing any war,
No,
atrocities, violence. It's all beautifully,
yeah,
innocently,
yeah,
playing freely. You know, there's no one
that's
being.
it. When there's a tsunami, or when there's a hurricane, no one's writing books about that and vilifying the hurricane or vilifying the tsunami. It is what it just is. This. It's
Oh yeah.
just this.
You
That's
know,
it.
breaking bones is as innocent as the rain falling and the trees growing and the sun shining.
That's it.
As is the not liking of that statement or
Yeah.
suggesting whatever.
Yeah.
It's as
Yeah.
innocent as the
Yeah.
liking, the understanding or the lack of understanding. It's all
Yeah.
beautifully, innocently, whatever is happening.
That's it. That's
and
that's it.
Andrea, sweetheart, so beautiful how you told us the story. amazing. And what's in a way shocking is that I can see so much similarities, even
Yeah,
though the stories are completely different, totally different. But the intensity, in a way, of
yeah,
the suffering, of the pain. I once explained this to Emerson,
yeah,
in a chat we had. I
yeah,
just heard myself saying, I wasn't thinking while blubbering. I
yeah,
never think while blubbering, to be honest.
yeah.
And I simply heard myself saying, I have no fucking clue how this year survived in a way.
Same.
And in a way, it's like, it's unbelievable, you know? And I also was close to die. I had an
Yeah,
accident. A car
yeah.
hit me, I was with a bike. And
Oh my
also
God.
just having this, well, yeah, there is really nothing happening. It's
Yeah,
so simple. Boom,
yeah,
just this.
yeah.
And like in
That's
a
it.
way, so similar experiences. You know what?
Yeah,
While listening to you, I was seeing myself, even though completely, it's so crazy. It's
yeah.
unbelievable. And then I was saying to him, I was in a way always living on the edge.
Yes,
It
yes,
felt like on the edge, like it was always, it was so hardcore, always on the edge of death, and at the same time, booming
yes,
aliveness. It's
yes.
hard to explain this, you know?
I got
And at
you.
the same time, I'm a very, I guess you're the same, very positive character, optimistic
Yeah,
character for no
yeah,
reason. No one is
yeah.
choosing this.
No,
And it's crazy how like both are so close together, even not close,
yeah,
it's the same. It's
yeah,
I call it, it's everything, you know.
yeah,
And it's
yeah, yeah.
amazing. Yeah, thank you so much for this beautiful story. I love it.
Oh,
Well, you're not finished, right, Andrea? You're
Yeah.
not finished.
I don't know. Am I? Am I not? I've got no idea.
And
Oh
then
no.
you in a way stepped into Facebook, or what? You checked out
Well,
some.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So on my journey, after my 40s becoming a hypnotherapist, I opened a gift from Gaia, which was my spiritual, it was like the spiritual story began. And after everything I'd been through as a kid, I kind of came back to that space. Like there's a reason. There's a reason why this is all happening to me, and I've got to find out what that is. And I'm only going to do that when I understand. I've got to find out how this all works. And I began with the mind. So it was kind of like a spiritual cross, like a little bit of psychology, a little bit of, you know, understanding patterns, because that was the other thing. Sorry, the dogs are about to
Oh,
knock us
good.
over. um that was, yeah, that was the other thing, because then I came to find out that one of the reasons why I struggled in life was because the way this brain functions, this body functions, the way I think, the way I see things, the sensitivity to things, why I'm attracted to fixing problems and stuff. I have the brain has ADHD. It's a neurodivergent brain. I'm already so
Okay.
timelessness. We ADHD has like time blindness. We don't have like the same concept of time. We don't, you know, like the way we see things, the way we respond to things, the way we feel about things, the way we think about things is all different. So I came to realize this is why I kind of clashed in life, because my brain, this brain is not functioning in the same way as everybody else's does. And that's another part that smashed the whole you know, the belief in separation. This is where I kind of realized that we can't get past the patterning of the brain. And I also had this amazing ability to recognize patterns in behaviors and personalities, and I realized that was so, like, it was that was what I was building my spiritual spiritual you know, content around. Sorry, the dog is leaning against the right, I think we got it. Yeah, that's what I was building my sort of spiritual platform around. But really, it was just the ability to see patterns. And I thought that this was something quite spiritual. I thought this was like a special gift. This is before I found out there was ADHD at play. But yeah, it was the journey with the 5-MeO DMT that just ripped all of that apart. And again, there was no one doing it. It didn't make it right or wrong what I was doing. It was just part of a self-help, a healing from trauma. Call it whatever you want to call it. You know, there's no, it's not wrong. It wasn't bad. And there's a billion people out there that are hungry for that kind of advice to help them out of trauma, because I think, you know, when you're traumatized and you've gone through what you've gone through, you know, that there is this belief that this shouldn't be why is this happening to me, you know, what, there's something more to this. And so the easiest way, I think, because it's within the cellular memory or whatever, there's this want to go and look for God, there's this want to go and look for a higher power. And for me, it was the aliens from the mothership. I wasn't on a path to seek God. I want to know what the heck lived in that bloody great big thing that I saw in the sky, because I used to dream about them as well as kids. As a kid, I used to dream about these giants. And yeah, so for me, it was like, I've been beamed down here. Like whatever that was that showed itself to me has beamed me down here, and either I'm being punished, or like there's a reason for this. I don't know what it is. I never found what the reason was, because obviously there is no reason, and there was no reason for that, and there's no reason for anything. Well, there could well be a reason. I mean, I think that's the other thing. We can't say whether there's a reason or there's not a reason, because whatever I say now, when I come to kind of conclude anything, is I'm only concluding from a thought space, from the way my brain just so happens to pattern itself out and function. And we can't get past the thought wall, you know. So it's like
there is simply no problem with the thought. It's just a thought.
Yeah,
it's just an
right.
idea.
Yeah, but that's what makes it all so interesting and fun, right? That's why we get to have these kind of Zoom conversations and stuff.
I love all those thoughts, ideas, everything full on, this booming aliveness. I totally feel you, girl. Beautiful. Maybe I also have this HD or blah blah blah, but here it doesn't matter.
No,
it's too late.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's what makes it even more interesting, because when
totally.
you get these...
I would say my life was very interesting and still is. I cannot imagine that it's going to be boring.
Hang on a minute. I don't think I've seen a Rosa interviewed about her story. Sander, could you interview Rosa about her story?
I was already interviewed, sweetheart. I will send you the movie. And Sander actually asked me, but in a way this happened. I will send it to you. But now it's your turn, girl. It's beautiful. I want to mention that I love your lamp and behind you. It's beautiful.
Yeah. It's a Moroccan lamp.
Morocco,
yeah.
I had in Cologne Marokkanische a friend. Fatima. And here, the same thing with your appendix, which happened with her sister.
Oh, wow.
Supposed to die because they did not notice. She was a tumor, and then so I guess it's quite often happening.
Yeah. Well, that was the beautiful thing, because there's been a number of deaths or close to deaths in this story. So one of them was when I was 9, and I remember leaving my body. So that's another one of these crazy spiritual experiences, or mind experiences, or call it what you want. I don't know what it was. But each and every one is always the same. So whether I was having, because the last 5-MeO DMT experience was death. I don't actually know whether I died and then put back in. I don't know what happened, but I felt, it's like when I came back into the body, I realized, or the brain then started to make sense or piece it together or verbalize it. I don't know what you want to call it, but that was each and every one of the experience were all the same. And also I have a really, really young memory. So I'm about 3 months old, and so I'm born in January, this is relevant because then you kind of understand the time scale. And I had this really young memory, and all it was like a sea of yellow, a sea of green, and a big load of blue. And I hadn't spoken to my mum for many, many years, and just recently we got back in touch. That didn't last long because, you know, some people don't
Perfection,
change.
perfection in
Yeah.
action.
But oh my God,
No need,
perfection.
no need for your mom to change. It's just
No,
perfect, exactly as it is. Yeah, totally.
And
Yeah.
it's like you can appreciate, like I can appreciate her like a big bonfire on a cold night, but you don't want to stand too close because those
Yeah.
little embers are going to get you on fire, right? So you
Yeah.
need to keep your distance. So it's just one of those. Anyway, so and she was like, "Oh my gosh, you remember that?" And I said, "Yeah, I don't know what it is though." And she said, "I can tell you exactly what it is." She said, "It was spring." So I was born in January. So I'm literally only about 3 or 4 months old. And she said, "It was the first warm day of spring." And she said, "I took you out onto the grass and there was daffodils. The garden was filled with daffodils. So the yellow, in my memory, the yellow became daffodils. Like before, it was just like a yellow blur. And then in the memory kind of like updated, it upgraded itself. Once it was told what it was that it had seen, it then upgraded it. So the yellow became the daffodils in my mind. The green was the stems and the grass. And then it was like, what must have happened? Again, my brain's piecing it together. But this blue flash just went like this. So my head as a baby probably just rolled back, and then there's all this blue. So I was like, oh my goodness. But all of these experiences. So I remember, and this sounds a bit weird, but it's not a memory. So it's like a sense of no thought.
Sweetheart, this is so cool. I have to interrupt you. Stay there.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
my mother, here, the
Yeah.
same story, but different.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
mother, when I started quite early with 16, 17, to just dive deeper, I came
Yeah.
to awareness consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
My mother was very interested too, and she loved being with me. We were
Yeah.
best friends. We were like best friends.
Oh, that's lovely.
And then she told me the story again. I've heard it already 2 times when we were together with the family. She was telling stories, and then she said, Rosa, I just love to be with you. You're so shiny always, like when you were a baby.
Yeah.
Like you always smiled. And
Yeah.
when you started to cry, it was like a trumpet, like an instrument, and all gathered around to hear you. And at this moment, because I was suffering a lot,
Okay.
that's why I was into diving into this awareness conscious. It was like needing
Same.
help. And this
Yeah.
was the way how this helped out. And
Yeah.
and when I heard the story, it made
Yeah.
click. Ah, yeah, that's it. It was
Wow.
always this. Just
Yeah.
as you said, it's no thought. It's like the
Yeah.
baby. And
Yeah.
it was exactly this thing which exactly what you said. I simply
Yeah.
remembered that that's it. This is the simplicity of what is.
Yeah.
And in a way,
Yeah.
it's like no thought. And
Yeah.
yeah. But
That's it.
continue.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
No, you got it. So that's the kind of um so whatever the I don't know what to call it, like the extreme of every situation I went through, whether it be that memory as a baby, whether it be the absolute like misery moments that I went through, whether it be the spooky experience with the witches and the man on the bus, whether it be the violence and being punched. I actually referenced this the other day in one of my posts where I said about being punched in the side of the head and your ears ring, whether it be the moments of death or near death, whether it be meditation, whether it be 5-MeO DMT or some shrooms or whatever, it's the same. And that's when the whole thing really just collapsed, and I realized it didn't. It was always the same. It's always there. I was never apart from
Yeah.
anything like
Beautiful.
I thought I was.
Beautiful.
but it was always it's the
Beautiful.
I still can't find the word. This is why I love to write, because I have this, I've had this always this want to try and say what,
Express, just to express in a way. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
And I do it in so many different ways,
Beautiful.
like always dancing around the fire, but I
Beautiful.
can't ever speak the unspeakable, you know?
And
It
at the
just,
same time, it's every expression, every sound, every
yes,
movement. Is this
yes,
already? It
yes,
beautiful,
yes,
beautiful,
yes,
so beautiful.
exactly that,
Yeah.
exactly that. So yeah, it's been extreme, really
Oh
extreme,
yeah. Oh yeah. Totally.
but
Totally.
but but today, this right here, it's like none of it ever happened, none of it matters. It's got no importance, nothing has any relevance. It already is already this, no matter how or what, why or whatever, no matter who, no matter the personality, no matter the story. I could sit in front of a mass murderer and have the same compassion, the same want to listen, the same, like there's no rejection of anything anymore. You know, I think if there's a change, I mean, rejection would still be part of this, yes, but there's not the rejection in the way that there used to be. I don't know if that even
It's
makes
not,
sense.
yeah, it's not personal. It's simply not personal.
No, it's not
You can be
personal.
full on rejection, not liking it, but it's
Yeah,
not personal.
yeah,
It's not about
yeah.
me, it's not about you.
No,
It's just what
yeah.
is.
It's
Boom.
just, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
it. That's
yeah.
it. And there's no, although judgment could come into it, yes, but it's not,
Totally.
yeah, but it's not judgment like it once would be, because it once would be about a me and a you, and you're doing this to me and blah blah blah. And now it's not that. I
Yeah,
don't see that anymore.
yeah,
I don't see the choices. I don't see somebody trying to do.
yeah.
I don't know. It's just, it's what I first said it was, which was like this cosmic soup, and that's it. And yeah, and I will still keep trying to dance round, like trying to find new words and ways to say what is completely unspeakable. It's
Beautiful.
unknowable, unspeakable, and anything else. But it's good fun trying.
So beautiful, so beautiful. I loved it. Obviously, I loved it. It was for me like a beautiful movie going through. Loved it. Cool. Yeah, thanks for the openness, sweetheart. So beautiful.
Yeah.
Zanderlientchen, what's popping up there while listening to? I was interacting the whole time. I couldn't because it was so vivid, sweetheart. Did you?
Well, nothing is popping up.
There's nothing to be said.
I mean, this is
Anyway.
yeah, what to say. I mean, yeah.
No, it was just an innocent question.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, of
no
course.
answer
Yeah,
needed.
always, you know, it's
Yeah,
always innocent. It's
yeah,
always just simply what it is. It's always this. It's always calling it a story or a past or a trauma. It's already just simply
Yeah,
there is happening or seem to be happening or is felt to be happening. Yes, what's there to
yeah,
say? Not
yeah.
much. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
The same, I think for me, the same question keeps arising though. And I went to the only non-duality meeting I ever went to was Tim Kliss. And
yeah. That's why when Darren popped up the
yeah,
first time, I just Darren from Tim, and then you
yeah,
you're
yeah,
back.
yeah,
I was
yeah,
cracking.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was
And
as
it was
if I hear
it's
it myself because I'm the same. My reaction would be exactly the same, you know. So I
yeah.
simply saw the similarity already with that was the first time I saw you live, you know. On
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
very funny. Mhm.
So what was I just going to complete? Oh yeah, well
Yeah.
I asked it at Tim's meeting, and I suppose but I already know the answer. It's like I can't understand. I always want to say to any speaker, including myself, why what you it's just the same. It's just this. It's just this alreadiness. It's just da 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 da. So why do we keep doing it?
Why not?
Because it's just what happened. I know, why not, right? Yeah, I can't even answer it. Why do I keep writing? I can't stop it. But it just seems like, you know, there are no more. Surely the questions just end because there's no answer. And then I guess that's the other thing, because in the early days, there's this fascination of, it's truly not separate. There's nothing separate. It's all just whatever. But then there becomes this appreciation for the appearance of separation. There becomes the interest in individual stories and how did you get to, and you know, so it's like it kind of inverts itself again. So then there's this, you know, there is a beautiful tree, there is a beautiful this, there is a beautiful that, and there's this like there's this appreciation for what appears as the individuality. Obviously it's not, it's just, you know, maybe.
Oh, it's total individuality,
Yeah,
full on personality. This
yeah,
is the booming aliveness here. It's how I, in a way, I perceive this here. It's
yeah,
amazing. It's overwhelming. It's unbelievable in a
yeah,
way. And
yeah,
here it was exactly like when I was a teenager, there was this. I got this non-duality, no separation stuff through the Buddhism, this interbeingness, interconnectedness. And this
yeah,
was like, okay, okay, okay. So this was a big relief because this was my
yeah,
language in a way. I knew
yeah,
already there is no separation. This was the first time I heard it in
yeah,
this way, so to say. And for
yeah,
me, the whole thing made more sense, but not
yeah,
not here. It's
right,
just, you know, it's just very obvious then. And
yeah,
because you mentioned a couple of times this, yeah, no separation, yeah, you know. And
yeah,
what
yeah,
what does
I
it
think,
mean, no separation? It's blah blah, just words,
yeah,
empty words, means
yeah,
nothing. And
yeah.
yeah,
This is why I loved it when I finally got hold of Ramana, because that was where it started to help. It gave me the language. I didn't have the language before. I didn't understand what oneness. How do you understand what oneness is when your husband's beating the crap out of you and strangling you to the point where you're unconscious? You can't understand it's very separated. It's very personal. Well, that's how it feels. But yet there was always this like contrasting memory in the body of this feeling of just being oneness. But like I said, I didn't have the language for oneness. It was just like this melting, this relaxation. So life without psychedelics was very intense, very gritty, very, you know, like, you know, violent, you know. But yeah, in the melting of the psychedelics, it was peace, it was harmony. I mean, you could get like some really weird stuff happening and loud noises and echoes and, you know, oddness, but somehow there was still peace within that apparent chaos at that moment. But like regular life, if you want to call it that, you know, like to understand there's no separation, like I said, when you're the man that you love and supposed to protect you and all that kind of stuff, that story that you build yourself, you know, like the fairy tale story is not, it's a hell story. You know, being able to see things, you know, or to marry the two together was utterly impossible. Like it could never ever have been grasped at that point. You know, it was only ever could be unraveled, if you will, over time after that kind of trauma and, you know, that violence had come to an end. But yeah, I mean, you know, I cannot say like at certain points during the story, I would say, yeah, you know, like that led on to that and that was that. But really, it's no different to a wind passing through the tree, you know, like it was going to have the effect on those leaves at that point because that's where the wind, you know, like it's just what happens. It's just the way that it flowed and the way that it went, you know. But do I
like
look on it now?
Xander said, innocence at play the whole
Yeah,
time, non-stop,
yeah, yeah, completely,
total freedom.
completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, freedom
Well,
to be all things.
it's hard to put it together in the absence of two already. There's just no putting this together.
Yeah,
There's
That's right.
nothing which is apart from this or beyond this. There's no two parts.
No,
This will never unite.
no, no.
Andrea, when you were about to say like, and you were expressing this, that's why you love to write. And
Yeah,
I was thinking like when I met Sander,
yeah,
this was here because I also always wanted to express it in a way, you know, not
yeah,
knowing why, what is happening. And
yeah,
there was this, and when I met Sander, it was so, I don't know, this was in a way the best way to express it through him, you know?
yeah, yeah,
It was funny because I don't know, he started with the videos because I loved the way, first of all, he just wrote, he was just writing.
yeah,
And I'm more visual. I'm not that into
yeah,
reading. And I asked him about the video if he already had, and he did one.
yeah.
And it was like I've never seen
Oh,
such an expression of justice, which is not a
yeah,
thing you can take in your pocket, uh,
yeah,
in such a simple way. And I'm in love with simplicity in such
yeah,
a simple, ordinary, normal, direct way. And
yeah,
this is not a compliment, sweetheart, by the way. And in a way, I just grabbed it. It was in
yeah,
a way my expression of what is, you know. Of course, there is no
yeah,
you and me, no, you know.
yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah,
just the most beautiful thing. And then
yeah,
when we were in touch, um, um, in a way, the interaction like friends, in a
yeah,
way, was very quickly. Some ideas fell dropped very quickly. Boom, boom, boom. I had
yeah,
just two maybe questions over and
yeah,
over. There was an idea, and he was always in this unique way, you know, just answering, not really answering,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it was so what to say, unbelievable. And this is in a way
Mm.
the energy, like the expression, you know, and the just
Yeah,
booming out the beautiful shorties he is doing. He
yeah,
is
yeah,
puking out so
yeah.
beautiful. And this is your really like the biggest joy, and also like meeting. I love to interact
Yeah,
with
yeah,
characters.
yeah,
There, I don't know, for no reason, of course. And like being able to do this is here really like I'm following my highest excitement
yeah,
already.
yeah,
Already.
exactly. It couldn't be, there is no other way. This is it. This is just, but here, I don't know. It was Leah and um oh gosh, no, don't let me. I'm terrible with names. Please do not.
Natalie,
Yes,
Natalie.
thank you so much. Thank you. Natalie, I'm so sorry if you're watching this. It's just the way my brain works. I'm really no good with names. Anyway, the
Blaming her
algorithm.
brain, now blaming her brain.
Oh
Oh,
no,
such a
no, no,
beauty.
no. The
It's
shame, the
my brain.
shame. Oh, I can't trust it, which is another reason why I don't come on video. Anyway,
Ooh.
like the algorithm pulled up Leah and Natalie were doing a talk, and I watched it, and this was the introduction to Sander and Rosa. I can't remember if you were on it. I'm so sorry if you
I don't
were.
know.
But Sander and Howard. And
Howard,
I,
yeah.
yeah, and I was just like, oh, these people are so delicious. Like, I
Yeah.
had to find them on Facebook really quick. And
Oh,
that's when I sort of got and that was it. Like there were so many that came with you guys. It was just like a door just opened and there was a whole load of you that flooded in at that point, which was beautiful. Like I absolutely loved the way Howard played with concepts and ideas and stuff like that. Like I'd be mesmerized. What a wonderful man. And then
Yeah,
Sander,
totally.
like the simplicity of Sander, literally
And
like,
the directness is stunning. It's stunning.
oh yeah, 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 literally like a knife through a juicy bit of steak. Like it was
And
just like
there is no second. There is
satisfying.
really no second until now. And I'm in a way up to date, I
Yeah,
guess. I'm not sure, but there is really no second
no,
like playing this way. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
It's
then,
all.
yeah.
I mean, it's no difference than ordering a Big Mac with French fries and mayonnaise.
It's satisfying.
You know, there's nothing more to it.
No, there isn't. I mean, we make a big song and dance out of everything, right? But
Yeah, and that's the beauty, you know, making it more than it is already just simply this. Yes, that's the
yeah,
that's the beauty. It's already just simply whatever.
yeah,
I have a question, Andrea. I have a question.
yeah,
Can you say now, looking back,
yeah.
how I was it that helped myself? Because
Say that
I
again. Say that again. Sorry.
can you reflect back on the
Yeah,
story like you did now
yeah.
and say, yeah, in a way, it was me. I helped myself out. I
No.
went, I became a therapist and a trauma therapist. Can you go and say, yeah, now I'm happy. I'm going to marry my lovely man.
Oh, yeah.
And you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
in a
yeah.
way, I
Yeah.
did it. I did it all. It was my
No.
intuition.
It was my brain. It was
Yes
my
and
brain.
no. Huh?
Or was it your brain, girl?
It's all made up. I don't know. I haven't got a clue. All I know is I tell a good story, right?
Oh,
Uh, can I say it was me? No, I never had. There was never There was never a point where I could say I chose this. I can 1,000,000% say, but it's just like me narrating this shit, right? I can 1,000,000% say that everything just happened, that no one did anything. That it looks like I made some choices. It looks like I made some really terrible choices. But did I?
Yeah.
No, I can't take credit for anything. I'd like to. But
well, you
that's
know, this is free to say, yes, it was me. This is free to say,
no.
no, it was.
Yeah.
This is free to be whatever it seems to be, claiming it was all me,
Yeah.
claiming there's no one. It's
But no,
already.
I can't. It's no
And
different.
can we
It's
can we say that people who would now after such a story, yeah, I would say it's beautiful. I'm totally happy that
yeah,
you feel now
yeah,
obviously bloomingly good and shiny,
yeah,
Shining.
smelly,
yeah,
and about to marry, which is
yeah.
so beautiful, girl. I'm so happy for you. Love,
Thank
love, love.
you.
And
Thank you.
it's like it's in a way so beautiful to like as you said to have this compassion for no matter what happened.
Yeah,
Also
yeah,
the man you've been with, you know, with so
yeah,
much violence. And another character now in your situation,
yeah,
not seeing like through the illusion, whatever this means, like put it like
yeah,
this, uh, still maybe blaming, shaming, or not wanting to
yeah,
think back because it's painful. Uh,
yeah,
just saying, yeah, it was me, you know, it was me, I did.
yeah, yeah.
And in a way, can we say there is a difference? There is like in a way, well, it's in a way cool when we see through. Or yeah, Xander, also your take on it. Feel free.
Well, like I said, this is free to claim that it all happened to me. This is free to feel it happened to me. I'd made choices. It was really me who stepped out of the relationship. You know, or the absence of those feelings, claims, beliefs, ideas, or whatever seems to be happening. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter. You know, there's no seeing through this.
yeah.
There's no way to see through this.
No,
It's hard to
no.
see through something in the absence of something else, which is able to see through this. This is it already, whatever is happening or not.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
the very sentence noise I've seen through the illusion is just
yeah.
another idea.
It's just
It's just
another
another
idea. That's it. That's exactly
yeah.
it. You can't get out of the thoughting. you know, the thoughting just keeps talking. It just keeps just creating stories, and
Yes.
then the knowing, and we can't get out of that. We
So
can't get past
saying
that.
I have realized something is, in a way, it's the duality, me and my realization, which is already not happening.
Yeah,
Well,
It's just
exactly.
blah. Yeah.
it's hard to get out when there's already no you in it. There's no one
Yeah,
in this.
yeah,
There's no one in this
exactly.
already able to get out and to see it, to hold it. There's just,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
it's
yeah,
hopeless. It's futile already.
yeah,
It's hopeless to
yeah,
even think of
exactly.
it.
Yeah. No, I think, you know, that when I look, well, first of all, it's like I feel like I feel like, listen to it.
Beautiful.
That
Yeah.
Yeah.
there is two people, that this life, this apparent life, has had two people. It feels very, very much like there's two people. There's the person that was chaos, and there's a person who's peace. Um, and but I can only explain that like a hurricane. A hurricane begins from a slight wind or something, it intensifies, and then it blows itself out. And in the same way, that's how this story looks. Um, uh, and in the same way, a hurricane doesn't get to change its position. It doesn't think itself into a different position. It doesn't choose to, you know, I'm going to suck up that cow, or I'm going to destroy that house, or, you know, in the same way, when I look at everything that happened, and my God, has it been like a really extreme story? And I haven't even touched the sides really with what I've shared. But like, could it have ever have been any different? No. It's so, if there's one thing that's super clear, is that there was absolutely nobody doing any of it. Because if there was, there is absolutely no way I'd have done that. I'd have run away. I'd have hid myself. You know, like, I would have done something different
Totally.
if I had a
Totally,
choice.
girl.
I wouldn't have put
Totally.
myself through all of
Exactly
that.
the same here. And who
Yeah.
would choose this? It's impossible. It's impossible.
There was no choice. And I think that's one of the things, because I was constantly asking myself, why? Why is this
Yeah.
happening? I couldn't see past it. I couldn't get out of it. There was no getting out of it, because I wasn't separate from it. Whatever it is this. It's not something separate. So yeah, I think, you know, if I was just to describe myself, I'd call myself a hurricane or something, you know, like,
Beautiful.
yeah, starts from nowhere, one big huge fuss, and then nothing. That's about it. That's the story.
And Drea, Hurricane, Rosa, boom.
Yeah, I love it.
Sander, conscious being.
But I honestly, like, I feel like, if, again, another narrated story, like, I've been lost at sea for such a long time, and it's like, I'm on the shore now. You know, it's like there's this sense of connecting with people who's, you know, are in the same kind of pattern, the same kind of understanding. And there is a feeling of being home, yet there is an awareness I never left home. Home was always this, whether it be the chaos, whether it be the drama, whatever it might be. Like, it was already, and here we are, still already.
Already, already.
I can't get the vocab
Beautiful.
to hit it.
That's it. Already, already. I love it. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's
Oh,
nicer now. It's nice not being hit around the head anymore.
oh yes, girl,
So
totally.
natural to not want it to be hit around the head.
And
No, but
anything,
then we could say, if I never got hit around the head, then I might not be here, right? So
Well, yeah, any so-called conclusions may be made. Can be,
exactly.
if this, not then that is already just simply this.
Yeah, now we're talking in variables and computer language, right? That's all it is. Algorithms and patterns, and until the patterns are seen, and then somehow, I don't know how, but old patterns seem to fall away. Old wants seem to fall away. All the, the dreams that I thought that I was going to do, planning for the next, all the belief in time, which is still already the beauty of what this is,
Yeah.
it comes up and shows up in that way. Like, don't get me wrong, it's still stunningly beautiful.
Yes.
But in seeing that, somehow that those beliefs, those wants, those thoughts become see-through, it becomes transparent and not as real. It's the cosmic soup. I come back to the cosmic soup every single time. It's like you dive into the soup and you pick up a carrot and you could call it carrot soup, but actually you take a different stand, you stand back a little bit and you've got chicken and vegetable soup. Who knew, right? Like, do you know what I mean?
Andrea's hungry.
I always come up with these. See, this is what I hide away behind the keyboard, because I come up with these crazy analogies. I was talking about Santa Claus the other day and Christmas.
Go grab, girl.
Huh?
Go grab your dinner, girl. You seem hungry.
I've already
Talking
eaten.
about carrots and chicken soup and
Well, what is this, right? Like, oh my God, could you imagine, like, if I was right from the beginning and this is all some alien game or something? Like, we could be billionaires on an alien planet.
oh yeah, whatever, yeah. It
No
is
place.
whatever it seems to be or felt to be, it's just the wondering what this is this already,
Yeah.
Who knows? It's hard to know what this is.
It's impossible, right? You can't, it's just, but there we are, still talking about it and
At the same
still.
time, it's just simply this, sitting in a Zoom meeting, talking,
Yeah,
sharing stories, about
yeah,
trauma and past and relationships. It's already
yeah,
just this. And at
yeah.
the same time, it's a total mystery. It's
I know, right? What a beautiful mystery it is. You know, like even the times where I had there was 3 what you could call out of body or death experiences, and it's always the same. It's always the same. Like, it's like there's no knowing. Like, you can't even say that it's like something. I can't. I go to try and like finish the sentence. It's like I can't say it. But it's whatever. It's just phenomenal. There's no fear left. But even fear, even the appearance of fear is already this. However, after everything,
yes.
the worry, the stress, the concern, the fear of what this might be is no longer there. That I had that beaten out of me. Like that really, really left.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful. It's beautiful not to, because I was an incredibly anxious, as you can imagine, highly traumatized, so very scared of everything. And that's no more. And if anything, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's
Totally.
beautiful.
Totally. I'm with you
Yeah.
there. Yeah. Yeah.
To not have that anymore. I mean,
It's like
you
this
know,
existential fear.
yeah,
Always about dying, me and my
yeah,
life. And
yeah,
this is really like, oh, and this is not there. Yeah, it's not.
yeah, no, yeah,
Everything can arise, but there is simply just a feeling, just the emotion.
yeah,
No problem with this, no matter what's popping
yeah,
up. Yeah.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah. So if anything, that's the beauty of it. That's where we are today. It's all okay. All of it, every bit of it is all okay.
Beautiful, beautiful, sweethearts. Let's round it up here with it's all okay already.
Yeah.
Andrea, thank you so much for
Oh,
for this booming, unbelievable, incredible story. It's just
I've
like,
loved it.
wow.
I've loved it. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure, and such a pleasure to finally meet you two as well properly. I shall be on the Zooms from here on in.
Perfection in action, and this is really like the perfect timing.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay,
Oh,
sweetheart Sander, I wish you a beautiful evening, Andrea Sander.
thank you.
And we
And
simply
you.
stay in
Rosa.
touch. And I love you.
Thank
I
you,
love
Andrea.
you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Beautiful
Thank
story.
you.
A pleasure.
Thank
Okay.
you, Sandra. Thank you so much for having me.
Bye-bye, sweethearts. Love ya.
See you soon.
See you soon. Yeah.